Howdy freeze dryers. Today we're going to freeze dry some blueberries. It's one of the most common things that people freeze dry, especially right when they get their freeze dryer. But I feel like there's a lot of wasted effort and a lot of wasted time on a lot of people's parts because there's a super easy way to freeze dry blueberries without having to cut every single one in half or buying a $200 tool to poke holes in it. So today I'm going to show you how to freeze dry blueberries the easy way. I'm actually going to show you two different ways today because it depends on what type of blueberries you have. If you have fresh blueberries that are already thawed, we can actually just go right onto a tray and right into the freezer, because when you freeze blueberries, whole blueberries, they expand and they'll put a small slit into the skin of the blueberry enough that when you freeze dry them, it will allow moisture to escape. If you're purchasing blueberries that are in the frozen food section like this, then you're either going to need to let them thaw out and then freeze them, or better yet, if you want blueberry pieces instead of whole blueberries, you can actually just run these through the food processor and pulse them real quick, enough to put a small slit in them. I really like doing these frozen because it makes smaller pieces and it doesn't make a big mess when you chop them up. So it puts just enough of a slit onto the blueberry that there's a place for moisture to escape. So I would recommend going onto pre-cut parchment paper from freeze drying supplies. A small tray should hold just about 2 pounds of blueberries in this cut up form. I really don't like to overfill trays with fruits because fruits are usually pretty difficult. They usually take a long time. And then I would also suggest, if you don't have tray stackers, to use tray stackers because you're going to want to pre-freeze all fruits. You may also want to wear gloves or you will end up with what I call blueberry hands. And now that we're all full, I used about, I think probably 7 pounds of blueberries. It's gonna vary a lot on how much you actually process these. If you cut them down to a smaller size, obviously you can fit more onto a tray. I would make sure that you do not overfill your trays. I wouldn't go up above this lip of the tray because fruits have a real tendency of taking a very long time to freeze dry and not getting complete. And these I'm gonna refreeze again because if you work with the blueberries long enough, even if they're frozen, they start to thaw out again. So we're just gonna put those back in the freezer. We'll go into the freeze dryer. I'm curious to see how long these take in the new Pro Model freeze dryer. I'm gonna put them in the Pro Model Small. Frozen blueberries, I recommend freezing all the fruits at least 24 hours. And I also reset my kilowatt meter because I want to see what kind of wattage and what kind of electricity this small Pro Model is using. Take a minute to subscribe to Live Life Simple if you have not already, and click the bell to get notifications of future videos to come out. For us, that is every Sunday at 8 a.m. If you like what we're doing on this channel, let us know. Give us a thumbs up. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm. It really helps get these videos out to freeze dryers and people that would like to be freeze dryers. And if you are a new freeze dryer or an old freeze dryer, or you're potentially going to be a freeze dryer, join our Facebook or our MeWe group. It's a Retired at 40s freeze drying group. You can find just about anything you can possibly think of on those groups. You can also use the magnifying glass. That is our search function on there. And that way you can search keywords and topics and threads and members and all kinds of different things. And if you're looking for recipes or freeze drying ideas, you can check out our hard copy freeze drying cookbook. There's also a subscription-based online cookbook that has over 300 recipes in it. And if you want the best resource for freeze drying out there, I have written a book called The Freeze Drying Handbook. And those, along with all of the freeze drying accessories you've seen in this video, can be found at freezedryingsupplies.com. You can also find these books on Amazon. And we're using Harvest Right freeze dryers today. If you're thinking about purchasing a freeze dryer, or if you just want to check out some specs and pricing, consider going through our affiliate link that can be found down in the description. If you end up purchasing a freeze dryer through that affiliate link, it sends us a small commission. We use that to put back into the freeze drying community by developing products and doing giveaways in our groups. Also staying up to date with the newest and latest and greatest from freeze drying. And with that support, it also helps keep our little YouTube channel afloat here, and it keeps bringing you this content every week. And our blueberries are up and running. They were pre-frozen. This should be a quicker cycle than usual because of the new technology that's inside of the Pro Model freeze dryer. I'm very excited to see how this goes. Blueberries done in 33 hours. Let's see what our kilowatt meter is reading. 17.89 kilowatt hours. And before you bag them, I like to just see if you can feel any cold spots. Maybe see if you can find something that's squishy, especially if it's a thicker one. Take some of the thicker ones and try and break them in half. See if they're squishy. If they are, you need to put some more time on them. If they're not, let's bag them up. And that's how you freeze dry a blueberry. Remember to live life simple. We'll catch you next week.